Yes, sir. It's your boy Snake Eye, Bomb First TV checker, and then let's go get 'em. Hey, first off, salute to that notification. Military for dropping them bombs on the like button before we even get lit. Let's get right into it, Bomb First Nation. Jose Gilberto Rodriguez. What went wrong? Let's go. Possible serial killer cuts off ankle monitor before killing 3 in Texas crime spree. A violent parolee ditched his ankle monitor before setting off on a deadly crime spree that left 3 people dead and another wounded in Texas. The man at the heart of a dog manhunt was believed to be Casey Holmes in Houston, suburb of Cypress, where neighbors spotted him around 6:15 a.m. Tuesday. The suspect, Jose Gilberto Rodriguez, 46, was found behind the wheel of a car he allegedly stole from one of his victims. As a deputy closed in on him, he bolted and fired off a 15-minute chase in the neighborhood he is believed to have terrorized days earlier. He put his hands out the window and gave up, said Deputy Jorge Reyes. One of the deputies lauded for the arrest. The deputy told reporters he started his shift hoping to capture Rodriguez. When I left the house last night before my shift, I told my wife, I'm going to catch him, Reed said. Sure enough, I did. A pistol was found in the vehicle, officials said, and lab tests were pending to determine whether it was used in the killings, and as you will see later on in the blog, it was and is a match. The convicted sex offender has been charged with 2 counts of capital murder, and a 3rd count is pending. Gonzalez on Monday blasted Rodriguez's mug shot on social media and warned that the suspect was a possible serial killer. Rodriguez is accused of killing 62-year-old Pamela Johnson during a home invasion Friday in the Cypress community. The next day, he fatally shot 28-year-old Ali Barrow, police said. He shot and killed a 3rd victim Monday. Boy, this man was busy. These 2 victims were shot in separate Houston mattresses stores. A 4th person, a 22-year-old Metro bus driver, was shot and wounded Monday, according to police. Oh, bro wasn't going to stop. Bro was turning up. He wasn't going to stop. Investigators believe the rampage started on July 9th with another home invasion that the victims were targeted at random. Rodriguez's rap sheet dates back to 1989 when he was a teenager for charges of trespassing, car theft, attempted sexual assault, and burglary. Court records show he was slapped with a 25-year prison sentence after pleading guilty to the burglary charge in 1990. The brother of suspected shooter said he was heartbroken to learn Rodriguez's role in the killing. I don't know why he did it. I feel for the families. I feel for everybody, he said. The brother was not identified in the report. A friend of Barrow, the 2nd victim, told the Houston Chronicle that she was smart, loving, and caring. She lit up the whole room. Miranda Easton told the newspaper everyone loved her. Barrow worked for mattress firm, and the unidentified victim worked for Mattress One, according to the Chronicle. Houston police Art Acevedo said the motive of the shootings appeared to be the robbery in most cases. He said Rodriguez may have been looking for someone. Man, this man was busy, he was crazy, and he wasn't playing no game. Hey, I'm gonna leave y'all with the news clip and so y'all can see what really went on with Jose Gilberto Rodriguez. What went wrong? Y'all drop comments and make sure you hit that bell to get notified every time we drop this. Hey, this your boy Snake Eye, man, signing out. Yes,
We have
sir.
breaking news from Houston, where police have just arrested a possible serial killer suspect. 46-year-old Jose Gilberto Rodriguez is officially called person of interest in 3 murders in the Houston area since Friday. He is also suspected of wounding a city bus driver yesterday. Police had described Rodriguez as armed and dangerous. The overnight manhunt ended with the wanted man's arrest this morning. Police have connected a pair of deadly shootings at mattress stores over the weekend to the shooting death of a woman at her home in a Houston suburb.
The capture of the man accused of going on a murderous rampage across North Houston. This is 46-year-old Jose Rodriguez. He lived in Cypress, and neighbors tell us he was raised by a loving family. But he has an extensive criminal history, sentenced to 25 years for attempted sexual assault, burglary, and theft. He was just released on parole last year. Police say he cut off his ankle monitor right before this crime spree began.
Joining us now, therapist Bill Prasad, our mental health expert. So, Bill, for folks who are in and around the Cypress area, his arrest, is a huge relief.
It is, and one of the things that made these crimes so frightening is because they appeared random in nature. In the majority of homicides in this country, the victims usually know their assailants, but in this case there didn't seem to be any clear connections between the alleged suspect and the people who were killed. The other was the circumstances surrounded the crimes. They occurred in homes, and while one individual, from what I understand, was getting gas, and we all have to go home, we all have to get gas.
Yep.
So that's why it was scary.
And a couple of people in businesses.
Victims at their jobs.
Yes.
Yeah, very crazy. The other thing is, this man was caught not far from where some of the crimes happened. Why would he do that?
Criminals, like everyone else, like things that are familiar, and we all like habit. So returning to the same place again and again is not really out of the ordinary, and it's one of the reasons why criminals get caught.
Yeah, and it also explains why investigators said they were casing areas where they thought he might be. I was actually surprised because he was in the very vehicle that they told everybody about yesterday.
Absolutely, and he set himself up to get caught through criminal behavior that is pretty ordinary.
Yeah, left a trail for law enforcement. Bill Prasad, thank you so much.
You have been charged with capital murder. You have the following rights. You have the right to retain counsel. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to have an attorney present during any interview with peace officers or attorneys representing the state. You have a right to terminate that interview at any time. You are not required to make any statement, but any statement you make may be used against you. You have the right to an examining trial if you've been accused of a felony, have not been indicted. And you have the right to request the appointment of a lawyer if you cannot afford to hire a lawyer. The process in Harris County of requesting the appointment of a lawyer is as follows. First, you tell me you're requesting the appointment of a lawyer. I pass that request on to the judge in the court where your case is pending. When you get to that court, you'll need to make a written request for a lawyer. You'll also need to provide information under oath regarding your assets, your income, and your expenses. Based upon that information, the judge will determine whether or not you can afford to hire a lawyer. If the judge determines you're financially unable to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you. If a lawyer is appointed to represent you, you'll be able to speak to the lawyer at that court setting. I'm going to tell you what you're charged with, and she will read the information made the basis of the charges against you. I'll determine whether or not probable cause exists for your arrest. Your bond or the conditions of your bond will be reviewed considering the facts of the case, the information that I have based on those facts, the Texas Constitution and the rules, and the factors contained in 17.15 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. All right, Ms. DA, he's been charged, Mr. Jose Gilberto Rodriguez, you've been charged with capital murder.
Officers received a 911 call and arrived at the location and met with the reportee and two other persons who stated that the occupant of the residence, Pamela Johnson, who lived there alone, had not been seen, had not been heard from in several days. They stated that they had attempted to call her on July 12th and July 13th of 2018, but were unsuccessful. Went to the residence, saw no obvious signs of forced entry. They yelled out to her, still was unsuccessful. A neighbor came over and assisted them with opening the kitchen window. When they entered the residence, they observed a woman's purse on the floor. The contents were strewn around the floor. They entered the master bedroom of the residence and observed the body of Miss Johnson on the bed, apparently deceased. They got scared and exited the residence through the garage door. One of them then entered the residence and walked to the master bedroom where he reported he observed Miss Johnson to be lying on the bed, deceased, with her hands tied to the headboard of the bed. He then exited the residence, and they called law enforcement, and EMS waited for them to arrive. Officers then got there, EMS got there, they entered the residence, confirmed the death of Miss Johnson. They observed the residence to be secured by burglar bars. They observed the window over the sink in the kitchen, which is the window used by the reportees to enter the residence, to be missing the burglar bars. They observed the brackets to the burglar bars to be damaged and pieces of the brackets on the kitchen floor. So they confirmed that forced entry. was made. They said that the missing burglar bar set from the kitchen window was on the floor in the master bedroom. They noticed the burglar bars were visibly damaged in a manner consistent with being struck with a large, heavy object. They determined that the complainant's vehicle was missing from the residence, along with 2 TVs and some other items. They interviewed family members. They recovered surveillance video from a neighbor's residence that provided images of the complainant's vehicle departing her residence on July 11th at about 10:18 a.m. and returning at about 12:19. They observed the complainant's vehicle on video, then departing the residence at 12:36 without returning. They entered her vehicle as stolen and unaccounted for. She was autopsied, and the autopsy stated that she sustained a single gunshot wound to the left chest. On July 14th, officer learned that a citizen had located the PT Cruiser in a parking lot at Willowbrook Mall. Affiant traveled to the mall, discovered that the complainant's vehicle was in fact parked there and apparently abandoned. They met with security at the Willowbrook Mall, obtained surveillance video that revealed the complainant's vehicle entered the mall on July 14th. They observed a male exiting the vehicle, entering the mall. Footage revealed the male subject that drove the complainant's vehicle into the mall, walked through the mall, and exited the mall through a door on the west side. They stated that it was high definition quality and provided multiple identifiable views of the subject. There was also another aggravated robbery of a Honda Pilot in which multiple latent prints were recovered from that Honda Pilot. And they identified a person. One of the latent prints got a hit, and it was identified as belonging to Jose Gilberto Rodriguez. They checked him through TCIC, observed that he had an open parole violation warrant. They observed a photo of Mr. Rodriguez from the Texas DPS and found that the image of Gilberto Rodriguez bore a very strong resemblance to the person observed exiting the complainant's vehicle and walking into and out of Willowbrook Mall. They also ran him through law enforcement database and observed that he had pawned several items from July 5th through July 13th, including a Cosmo brand television stolen from Miss Johnson's home. They learned that Mr. Rodriguez pawned 2 cellular telephones at a kiosk at Walmart. And they, based on a tip, they spotted him driving a Nissan. They attempted to stop the vehicle. However, the defendant refused to stop. He eventually did stop, and he was taken into custody and identified as Mr. Jose Gilberto Rodriguez. When they stopped him, they located a black revolver matching the description of the gun used in the home invasion, in another home invasion. And they learned that the gray Nissan and it cuts off, Judge. So I don't have the rest of it because it cuts off. If I can pull get with the officer to pull the rest of it. Because at that point, the dim summary cuts off.
Okay, if I'm correct, he is identified as abandoning the vehicle
At the Willowbrook Mall.
at the Willowbrook Mall. He is identified as pawning items from the burglary of the habitation.
Yes.
The gun that he is found with when he is pulled over is associated with the death of Miss Johnson. Is that correct?
Yes. And that's where it stops. Yes. But so we have all of that information which ties him to the home invasion and the burglary, because her vehicle was seen on July 12th, and then he abandons it on
The 14th.
July 14th.
And do we have a date of death for her?
The last time anyone saw her was on July 11th.